If you're watching this, I'm going to assume that you're a man between the ages of 16 to 24 and you're always seeing your friends having so much fun on their social media stories, their profiles. Maybe you're in a room with them and they're talking about their casual sexcapades and their crazy nights out. You're hearing about how your one friend pulled this girl and then they had sex on the same night and he didn't use a condom and he doesn't even know her name, and then your friend did a balloon and it was so fucking funny. And you might get a weird sense of FOMO, fear of missing out, when you're either watching these stories on Instagram, Snapchat, or listening to your friends talking about these nights out. You're told that you're only young once and that you should live while you can. I look at people who fell into this trap now with a lot of empathy. I used to really look down my nose at them and be like, oh my god, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, it's simple, just don't go out, don't do a bunch of drugs, don't do a bunch of casual sex, and you'll have a good life. But the fact is, these guys and girls were told by their superiors, by their elders, that this is the only opportunity to actually enjoy your life before it gets terrible and boring and, oh my god, 9 to 5 work and bills and responsibilities. You only have this period of time right now to have as much fun as humanly possible, so guys, go fucking crazy. And because you're told this, you're almost filled with a sense of dread when you see other people out having fun and you've decided to stay inside and have a healthy sleep pattern, not consume a bunch of poison, and have sex with a 4 out of 10 who you just met. But let's reverse engineer who's actually giving this advice. You only live once type of people, right? So I was at a pub with my sister once. It was her birthday and we were just having a few casual drinks with her and a few of her friends. We were in the smoking area and I remember this like older lady, probably like late 40s. She came up to us asking us if we had a lighter, and somehow we started talking about like going out and having fun. She had this very like flippant attitude of like, I wish I was still young and going out, like, you've got to live, girly. And my sister had just had a baby as well and she was like, yeah, you've got to make time still for yourself and going out and having fun. And I was just sat listening to this, like I wasn't really engaging with her. I was just listening to her and thinking like, who is this woman to be giving this sort of advice to my sister? Now, I try not to be judgmental, but from the conversation and how she carries herself, I can tell that this is not the sort of woman my sister or any other young woman would want to emulate. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the brief conversation we had, I gathered that she has like 4 kids, 2 different fathers. She still goes out to pubs and clubs sometimes and gets drunk, and she's like, 40s. This is not the sort of woman which anyone should be looking to for advice, So the types of people who are giving you this advice are not the sort of people you want to be emulating. You don't want to live their life. You don't want the results they have, okay? Yet, young people still continue falling into the trap of, oh, you only live once, going out, engage with a bunch of hedonism. Casual sex especially completely ruining young women, and young men being complicit in ruining their own dating market and their own fucking options. Being hedonistic, taking a bunch of drugs, taking a bunch of poison. And they do that in their prime years where they should actually be building something, a life worth living, rather than wasting their time doing that shit. It's a complete flipping of like priorities. But if you look at anyone successful you look up to, you gotta ask yourself, like, what pathway did they take? Were they going out and doing a bunch of drugs and doing a bunch of degenerate shit? Are they like that lady who I talked to in the pub? Or did they avoid that, generally speaking, and find a greater than self purpose? Find fulfillment in other things other than instant fucking dopamine in your brain because you've just done a fucking bump of cocaine off your key in a nightclub bathroom. And now you're making out with Tiffany, who has a fucking 16 body count at the age of 19 years old. I'm trying to really not be judgmental here, but I need you to understand that the type of people that you're mixing with in these environments are no good for you. No good. And it won't take long for you to go down that pathway before you end up just like them, okay? They'll grow older. They won't have prospects. They won't have developed valuable skills. They would have no sense of purpose because their brain is completely destroyed from the amount of dopamine that they're constantly chasing, living for the weekend. They won't have any positive prospects for the dating market because the women have high body counts and their souls are fucking dispersed between 20 plus different dudes who they met on a club dance floor. The men will have built no value, meaning they're just going to decay along with the women. And then what they usually do is they blame the government or they blame some other circumstance outside of their own responsibility. And then they're never able to grow because they don't take responsibility over their own actions and their own life. And if you don't take any responsibility and you actually pass off the responsibility to something which is out of your control, the government or society, you have no power to change. and you're just stuck. And then they pass on their shitty blueprint to the next generation of kids without ever thinking like, maybe this isn't the best life I could offer to my fucking children. But the problem is they never grew up and realized they have a greater than self purpose because they spent their entire lives chasing that hedonism. Fuck, man. As someone who's experienced nightlife and came out of it unscathed, relatively unscathed, unlike 90% of the population of any nightclub dance floor, I'm going to tell you a few things now which I want you to remember and think about next time you're looking at your Instagram stories and see your friends having fun on a night out, or if you're in a room with them and they're talking about how they banged this chick and they're a raw dog and all this shit, okay? Nightlife is full of degenerate casual sex. If you're like me, you want a wife. You want a beautiful wife with a beautiful family. You want her soul to be intact. You don't want to be entertaining garbage women who have given up the goods to a dude on a night out because he had her favorite flavored vape, for example, like just bullshit like that. You don't want that to be your wife. Right? You don't actually have any sort of sense of missing out when your friends are telling you how they banged this chick and da-da-da-da-da, because ultimately it's completely fucking meaningless. It's fun in the moment, and your friend will derive pleasure from telling you about it because that fuels his ego. But outside of that, it's probably actually really fucking sad. I was actually in a club a few nights ago, completely fucking sober, and I've never felt more uncomfortable in my life. There was this like overweight girl who was just like throwing it back and twerking on this dude in the middle of the dance floor with everyone watching. And all I was thinking about, like, holy fuck, where are these guys' parents? And these are the sorts of stories which your friends probably tell you about, like, oh yeah, dude, and then this girl was throwing it back on me and it was so fucking lit, bro. Whoa. It's actually really fucking sad. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. I actually spent about 5 minutes in that club before leaving because it was making me so uncomfortable. Whenever I'm on a night out, I actually make a joke with my friends. Whenever I see two people drunk off their minds just making out with each other, which is very common because once again, these environments are geared towards casual sex. All of the music they play are geared towards getting women to loosen up and tonight I'ma love you tonight, and then fucking Pitbull and just all this garbage music which is like, you know, guys, just tonight, guys, we're young tonight, let's have sex together. That's all the fucking music is in these clubs. When I see two people making out, I point over to them and then I say to my friends, we found love in a hopeless place, because it's fucking true. It's like, look at those guys, they found love in a hopeless place. I bet they don't even know each other's names, and then they're awkward dancing together and then making out, and then she's gonna give him a piece of her soul for that night, which her future husband isn't going to experience anymore because she just gave it away to this dude because he bought her a fucking drink. Sad, bro. Sad. I'm getting a bit heated in this video. I'm trying to like calm down. I'm trying to be empathetic towards these people, but I need you to understand. These environments have nothing for you, bro. Nothing. I've not ever met a single person who's met their wife on a night out and they've had a healthy, long relationship, which I would want to emulate, okay? I've not met anyone like that. Another thing is that you would never want to be seen on video on a night out. If you had a camera on you for the entire night out, the lights were on, people could see you, you would not be doing 99% of the shit that you do on a night out because you would look like a fucking clown. The only reason you do is because you're under the lights of the club and you can't really see each other, you know? There's no accountability there. When you're on a night out and you're dancing like a fucking zombie and your jaw's swinging and you're dancing with a 3 out of 10, you're degrading yourself, and you know this yourself. When it's the end of the night and the lights come on, the fucking dance floor scatters, and they do that because they know that they're fucking degrading themselves, and having lights on them make them deeply uncomfortable, so they fucking leave. You know that deep in your heart when you're on a night out. If you had a camera on you, if you had a guy who was vlogging your every move, you wouldn't be doing half of the shit you do. Another thing is nightlife will actively steal your potential as a man. Beyond the alcohol, the lack of sleep, the drugs, more importantly is the mixing with the low-level people that you get. Once again, the girls who give it away because this dude has her favorite flavor of vape and that's enough to impress her to take her home and have sex with her. And then the guys are on a night out because they're trying to escape their shit reality and pull a 3 out of 10 so they feel fucking, you know, like the man in front of their boys. It's all garbage. It's all terrible. These are not the sort of people you want to be hanging out with at all. A few nights ago, when I did go out to some clubs, I stayed sober. I went with some friends, and one of my friends started talking to a girl. Now, this girl was giving us very telling signs she wanted to be approached. She was like, oh my God, fucking talk to me, please. And we were like, you know what, dude, go over and talk to her, invite her to play a game of pool. And he did. And they were getting along really well. For literally like 2 or 3 hours, they were talking, they were flirting, they were touching. And then it turns out this girl has a boyfriend. And she didn't tell him, her friend told him. And then she tried to pretend like she told him from the start and, oh, let's just be friends, even though she was touching his leg. This is garbage behavior. Can you imagine being that girl's boyfriend? Holy fuck. The people that you mix with in these clubs are not the sort of people you want to be keeping around. It is never as fun as it looks on Instagram to be out on these nights out. Never. And it's never as fun as it sounds when your friends are describing how fucking hilarious and funny it was to you, okay? And the casual sex is never as good as they describe it to be as well. Once again, they're telling you because it's fueling their ego. So they're going to embellish and polish their story so it sounds fucking as epic as humanly possible. So that you say, oh bro, that's so fucking sick, man, yeah, woo! And I suggest to you, if you want that to stop fucking gassing up your friends for having sex with a 4 out of 10 on a night out in a one night stand without using a condom. It's actually not fucking cool, man. Stop gassing them up. If they start telling you about it, just be like, yeah, cool, man. Don't give them any sort of ego fulfillment, and hopefully it clicks in their brain, oh my God, I'm wasting my time horribly doing this shit. Sam's not even impressed. I'm not fucking impressed. Now guys, there is a place for partying, okay? I like a party as much as anyone else, but partying is for celebrating. Partying can be for dancing, if you're into dancing. I like a bit of a dance, especially if it's my favorite type of music, sort of electronic, techno, drum and bass. I like going out and having a bit of a dance, but it's not for engaging in degeneracy, casual sex, drinking a fuck ton of alcohol, losing your mind, doing a bunch of drugs, and being a clown. If you're watching this video and you're not quite convinced by what I'm telling you and you're thinking like, Sam, it's not that big of a deal, bro. I'm young. It is what it is. I'm just going out and having fun. Fine. But I'm telling you right now, at some point, it will click with you, hopefully. I know it doesn't fucking click for everyone, especially that 40-year-old woman in the pub. It didn't click for her ever. But hopefully at some point it clicks with you that this shit is a waste of fucking time. Even the guys that you look up to who are successful, who did have periods of time like this, they don't look back at it with like, you know, a sense of pride. They never do. They don't regret it because living in regret is useless, but if they knew what they knew now and they were to redo it, I guarantee you they would do it very differently. If you want to get ahead of the curve, heed my words right now. Limit drastically how often you're going out to these environments. Start making more calculated decisions, guys, and go out to actually celebrate something as well. Work towards something, achieve shit, and then go out and pie. At least do that. Don't just go out mindlessly because it's Saturday. If you want to learn how to make money online from the comfort of your home, or travel the world printing cash on your laptop through video editing, and join over 450 of my students doing exactly that, click the first link in the description right now. Take care, boys.